At the engagement banquet, my fiancé's first love returned from abroad. In front of all the city's elites, he removed my ring and placed it on that woman's hand. I'm sorry, I've always seen you as her shadow. Now that the real one is back, you should step aside. That woman was wearing the same style of gown as me, smiling provocatively. In my previous life, I humbly tried to retain him, becoming a laughingstock. In this life, watching his affectionate demeanor, I only found it amusing. Since Gavin is so devoted, this marriage alliance is null and void. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello, Grandpa, since the Gu family is breaking the engagement, I'm withdrawing the 100 billion investment. Gavin's face changed drastically. What did you say? I smiled as I looked at his pale face. He had probably forgotten that this marriage was always the Gu family climbing up to me. Extend your hand. Gavin's voice was cold, like commanding a subordinate. I looked at him without moving. Around us were guests holding champagne, flashbulbs clicking away, as if recording an execution. He grew impatient, directly grabbing my hand and forcefully removing the engagement ring. My knuckles were rubbed red. He turned around and gently placed the ring on Lydia's hand. Lydia was wearing the same haute couture gown as me, which Gavin had specially chosen for her. I was the fool who paid for it. I'm sorry, Serena. Gavin looked at Lydia, his eyes as if seeing a rare treasure through her. I've always seen you as her shadow. Now that the real one is back, you should step aside. Lydia nestled in his arms, glancing at me provocatively, her eyes full of a victor's superiority. Serena, although you bought this ring, Brother Gavin said only I am worthy of this unique design. The surrounding whisper surged like a tide. Serena has this day too? I heard she was the one clinging to him. Gavin never fancied her. Indeed, Lydia is Gavin's first love, Serena is just a substitute. In my previous life, I broke down right here. I cried and begged him not to leave, pleading for him not to abandon me for the sake of our 3 years together. I humbled myself to the dust, only to receive Gavin's "don't be cheap" and a slap from Lydia. Later, the Shin family went bankrupt. I ended up on the streets, watching their century wedding live on a big screen, and froze to death in that harsh winter. Reborn in this life. Looking at Gavin's affectionate face, I felt a surge of nausea in my stomach. Amusing. Truly too amusing. I didn't cry or make a scene, I even straightened his crooked tie for him. Since Gavin is so devoted, this marriage alliance is null and void. Gavin was stunned, seemingly not expecting me to be so calm. He frowned. Serena, don't pretend to be strong, I know you can't leave me. As long as you behave, I can give you a breakup fee. Breakup fee? I chuckled lightly, taking out my phone. The whole venue fell silent. I dialed the pinned number and put it on speaker. Hello, Grandpa. From the other end came an aged yet authoritative voice. Serena? Is the engagement banquet over? I casually looked at Gavin's instantly rigid face. Not over, but it's off. Gavin said I'm a substitute, now the real one is back, telling me to get lost. So, since the Gu family is breaking the engagement, I'm withdrawing the previously agreed 100 billion investment. Gavin's face changed drastically, lunging forward to grab my phone. What did you say? I sidestepped, calmly saying into the phone, Grandpa, notify finance to immediately stop all fund transfers to the Gu group and terminate all ongoing collaborations. Also, tell the bank that the Shin family no longer recognizes the Gu group's loan guarantees. The other end was silent for a second, then erupted in an angry shout. Bastards! Daring to bully my Shinjin's granddaughter. Serena, rest assured, Grandpa will show them what it means to know their place. The call ended. The beeping busy tone was particularly piercing in the dead silent banquet hall. Gavin's face was as pale as paper, his lips trembling. Serena, you're joking, right? That's 100 billion. How can you withdraw it just like that? I smiled as I looked at him, my eyes as if gazing at an ant. Gavin, you've probably forgotten. This marriage was always your Gu family begging on knees, climbing up to me. This 100 billion, even if I fed it to dogs for some noise, I wouldn't give it to trash like you. Gavin stared at me intensely, the affection in his eyes instantly turning to fear and malice. That look was all too familiar. In my previous life, when I lost my value, he looked at me the same way. Serena. You're crazy? This is business cooperation, not child's play. He rushed over to grab my wrist but was pushed away by the bodyguard behind me. Gavin staggered back, knocking over the champagne tower behind him. The sound of shattering glass exploded, wine splashing all over him, making him look utterly disheveled. Lydia screamed, disdainfully stepping back, afraid of dirtying her skirt. This was his first love. When disaster struck, she didn't even bother to pretend. I clapped my hands, and the bodyguard handed over a document. Gavin, this is the termination letter, sign it. Gavin looked at the document, his hands shaking. I won't sign. Serena, you can't do this to me. Our Gu family invested all our liquid assets into this project. Withdrawing now is forcing me to death? I raised an eyebrow. Forcing you to death? Gavin, you're exaggerating. Weren't you so tough earlier? For true love, treating money like dirt. How come now, with true love in your arms, you're reluctant to part with my stinking money? The surrounding guests began pointing and whispering, the tide turning instantly. So the Gu family was living off the Shin family? Eating soft rice yet so arrogant, really thinking he's somebody. TSK, now there's a show, the Gu group is probably done for. Gavin's face turned liver red, he looked pleadingly at Lydia. Lydia, help me persuade Serena, she usually listens to you the most. Lydia smiled stiffly, shuffling 2 steps toward me, trying to pull my hand. Serena, brother Gavin was just momentarily confused, he has you in his heart. I backhanded her a slap. Slap. Crisp and loud. Lydia's head turned from the slap, covering her face in disbelief as she looked at me. This slap is to teach you to recognize your own position. I drew out a wet wipe, methodically wiping my fingers. A mistress should have a mistress's awareness, don't randomly claim relatives, who's your sister? Also, don't touch me with your hand, that's touched trash, I find it dirty. Lydia's eyes instantly reddened, tears flowing like pear blossoms in rain as she looked at Gavin. Brother Gavin, I just wanted to help you too. In the past, Gavin would have rushed to protect her. But now, he stood in place, his eyes flickering, surprisingly not moving. Because he knew that if he retaliated this slap, that 100 billion would truly be hopeless. This is men's reality. In the face of absolute interests, the so-called first love is just a weighable chip. I threw the termination letter at his face, the sharp paper cutting his cheek. Not signing is fine, wait for the court summons. Also, Gavin, take off these clothes. Gavin was stunned, what? I pointed to his haute couture suit, then to Lydia's gown. This suit was hand-stitched by Italian craftsmen I hired, this gown was also bought with my supplementary card. Since we're breaking up, my things, I want them all back. Even if I burn them, I won't leave them for you adulterous pair. Gavin trembled with anger, Serena. Don't push too far. In public, you're making me strip? You can choose not to. I took out my phone, opened the banking app, and showed the balance screen. Then return the money to me. A total of 3,800,000, transfer or card? Gavin froze. The Gu Group's liquid funds had long been poured into that big project, his personal account probably couldn't even muster 300,000 now. The whole venue was dead silent. Everyone watched this usually arrogant Gavin, now standing like a clown in the center of the stage. Strip. Someone shouted first. Then, heckling voices rose one after another. Strip. Isn't Gavin very backbone? Eating soft rice requires the awareness of eating soft rice. Gavin's face reddened as if about to drip blood, he gritted his teeth, staring at me fiercely. Serena, you'll regret this. He abruptly took off his suit jacket and slammed it to the ground. This crappy clothes, I don't care for it. He grabbed Lydia to leave. Wait. I called him back. And the pants. And the underwear. After all, even your life was bought back with my Shin family's money. Gavin was eventually escorted out by security. Of course, he didn't strip his pants, but he lost all face. Because during the standoff, his assistant rushed inly and whispered a few words in his ear. Gavin's face changed greatly, he didn't even bother with threats, dragging Lydia in a frantic escape. I knew what the assistant said. The Shin family's actions were swift. In those few minutes, the GU Group's stock price had hit the limit down. Banks started demanding debts, suppliers cut off supplies, partners terminated contracts one after another. Once the dominoes fall, they can't be stopped. I stood in the center of the banquet hall, looking at the mess on the floor, yet feeling no pleasure at all. Only endless fatigue and coldness. In my previous life, for this man, I gave up my identity as the Shin family heir, willing to wash hands and make soup. I thought that as long as I was good to him, even a stone could be warmed. But what was the result? He used the Shin family's resources to propel Lydia to power, finally stepping on my bones to become an acclaimed business genius. Indeed, love can truly make one foolish. Miss Serena, impressive tactics. A low voice came from behind. I turned back to see a man in a black trench coat, leaning against a pillar in the corner, swirling a glass of red wine. Dylan. The true crown prince of the capital circle, with ruthless methods and unfathomable background. In my previous life, Gavin's biggest competitor was him. But I remember, in the end, Dylan lost miserably, dying in a car accident. Thinking now, that accident probably involved Gavin's handiwork. Dylan, you're too kind. I responded faintly, not intending to deepen the acquaintance. In this life, I only want to make money, crush the GU family, and not get involved in any man's vortex again. Dylan walked over. In the now empty banquet hall, his leather shoe sounds were particularly clear. Miss Serena, I greatly admire your momentum just now. He raised his glass and gesture. The enemy of my enemy is a friend, interested in cooperating? I looked into his deep eyes and suddenly smiled. Dylan, I just kicked out one who eats soft rice, temporarily don't want to raise a second. Dylan was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter. Serena, you're much more interesting than rumored. He handed me a business card, pure black with only a string of numbers. If needed, call me anytime. For example, to make the GU family die faster. I took the card, said nothing, and turned to leave. Stepping out the hotel door, cold wind hit my face. My phone vibrated non-stop. All were Gavin's missed calls and message bombardments. Serena, don't make a fuss, I know you're angry. Grandpa had a heart attack, quickly make the Shin family stop. Lydia is innocent, whatever you have, come at me, don't hurt her. Serena. Answer the phone. Do you really want to ruin me? Looking at these messages, I only felt disgusted. In my previous life, I was driven out, kneeling in heavy snow all night begging to see him. What did he say? Don't dirty my doorstep. Now, it's his turn to panic? I replied with a voice message, tone light, Gavin, this is just the beginning. The game has only just started. Back at the Shin family old house, Grandpa was sitting on the sofa waiting. Seeing me return, the old man's eyes reddened, his cane pounding the ground hard. That beast. I shouldn't have agreed to this marriage in the first place. I walked over, squatted before Grandpa's knees, resting my head on his lap. Grandpa, sorry for worrying you. Grandpa stroked my hair, sighing. Good to have you back, good. Our Shin family lacks neither money nor power, what kind of man can't you find in the future? Why hang on a crooked tree? I closed my eyes, hiding the moisture in them. Grandpa, I don't want to find a man anymore. I want to enter the company, take over Shin Group. Grandpa was stunned, then ecstatic. Good, good, good. Grandpa has waited 3 years for these words. Before, I was love-brained, only wanting to be Gavin's wife, ignoring family business. Now, I'm awake. I want everyone to know Serena is no one's appendage. She is the sole heir of Shin Group. And Gavin's nightmare. The next morning, I stepped into the top-floor conference room of Shin Tower in 8-centimeter heels. The moment I pushed the door, all directors' gazes focused on me. There was doubt, disdain, and wait and see. I slammed a thick file on the table. This is all the financial loopholes and irregular operations evidence of Goo Group. Within 3 days, I want to acquire Goo Group. Those who can't do it can leave now. The acquisition of Goo Group progressed smoother than imagined. Although Gavin had some skills, he was young and impetuous, accustomed to smooth sailing with Shin family resources these years, never experiencing real business warfare. Once Shin Group's funding chain broke, he completely panicked. He began frantically selling assets to fill the gaps, but this was just quenching thirst with poison. I sat in the office, watching the Goo stock K-line chart on the big screen, all green downward, feeling refreshed. Serena, Gavin is downstairs, says he wants to see you. Secretary Zoe knocked and entered, expression odd. He says, he has a secret about your background to tell you. Background? I frowned. I'm the Shin family's only daughter, that's ironclad fact, what secret could there be? Let him up. 5 minutes later, Gavin rushed into the office. Not seen for days, he looked haggard like a different person. Stubbly beard, sunken eyes, wrinkled suit, no longer the spirited look of before. Serena. You're ruthless enough. He roared as soon as he entered, must you push to the extreme? I leaned back in the chair, twirling the pen. Gavin, business is like battlefield, willing to bet, accept loss. Lose? Gavin sneered, pulling out a worn diary from his bosom and slamming it on my desk. You think why I approached you? Why I tolerated you for 3 years? Look at this. I picked up the diary suspiciously. The cover was yellowed, looking aged. Opening the first page, I was stunned. It was a photo. In the photo, a young girl in a white dress, smiling brightly. That face resembled mine by 70%. But it wasn't me. On the back was a name, Claire. Claire? I read the name, a strong unease surging in my heart. Yes, Claire. Gavin stared at me intensely, his eyes carrying a vengeful pleasure. She is the real eldest miss of Shin family, your half-sister. Back then, your mother forced Claire's mother to death to rise, and threw Claire into an orphanage. I met Claire in the orphanage, she was my first love, my light. But she died. Killed by your Shin family. Gavin's voice grew louder, almost roaring. I approached you to revenge against Shin family. I want you to taste losing everything. Lydia isn't any first love, she's just a pawn I found because she looks like Claire. And you, Serena, you don't even count as a substitute. You're just the daughter of a thief who stole someone else's life. Boom, my mind went blank. My hands and feet were ice cold, tightly clutching the diary. In my previous life, until death, I didn't know this. I always thought Gavin loved Lydia, that I lost to childhood sweetheart. Turns out, from the start, it was a thorough scam. It was a long-planned revenge. No wonder. No wonder in previous life after Shin bankruptcy, Grandpa had sudden heart attack and died. No wonder Gavin watched me on streets unmoved. Because in his eyes, I was guilty. I took a deep breath, forcing calm. So what? I lifted my head, eyes terrifyingly calm. Is this your reason for betraying marriage, ruining Shin family? Gavin was stunned, seemingly not expecting this reaction. Don't you feel guilty? Everything you have now should have been Claire's. Guilty? I laughed, tears almost coming out. I stood up, walking step by step to Gavin. Gavin, your storytelling ability is top-notch. Unfortunately, you investigated wrong. I took a paternity test report from the safe and slapped it on his face. Shin family never had any illegitimate daughter. My parents were in a business marriage, harmonious feelings, no such drama of forcing the original wife to death. As for that Claire you mentioned. I picked up the desk phone, dialed internal line. Bring up that woman called Lydia. Gavin's face changed. What are you doing? Let you see the truth. Minutes later, Lydia was dragged in by 2 bodyguards. Seeing Gavin, she immediately cried, "Brother Gavin, save me." I threw the diary at Lydia's feet. "This diary was given to Gavin by you, right?" Lydia shuddered, eyes evasive. I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't know?" I sneered, turning on the projector. A surveillance video appeared on screen. In it, Lydia was sneakily buying something at an old bookstall, holding exactly this diary. "This diary is forged." I looked at Gavin's gradually paling face, stating word by word. "No Claire, no orphanage first love. This is just a lie Lydia fabricated to approach you. And you, Gavin, for a liar, ruined your fiancé, your company, and delusions of ruining Shin family. You say, who is the real joke?" Gavin froze like a petrified statue. Trembling, he picked up the diary from the ground, flipping to that page. At the photo's edge, a tiny watermark, JX Studio, photographed 2020. That was 3 years ago. And Gavin's Claire should have died 10 years ago. "Impossible, this can't be." Gavin roared in collapse, suddenly choking Lydia's neck. "You lied to me? You dare lie to me?" Lydia's eyes rolled back, struggling desperately. I watched this dog-bite-dog farce coldly, my heart only desolate. Turns out, in previous life I lost so miserably not because I wasn't good enough, but because I loved a thorough fool. Enough. I stopped the bodyguards. "Throw them out. Don't dirty my office." Gavin was dragged out like a dead dog, Lydia still screaming explanations, voices fading. The office finally quieted. I slumped in the chair, feeling all strength drained. Truly absurd. Previous life's blood feud, this life's step-by-step planning, originated from a clumsy lie. Gavin prided himself on devotion, revenging for a fictional deceased wife, ended up played by a green tea. And I became the biggest victim in this farce. "Serena, need to call police?" Secretary Zoe asked cautiously. "No need." I rubbed my temples, eyes turning cold again. "Calling police is too lenient. Notify PR department, edit that surveillance video and release it." Title: Gavin rages for beauty, turns out pig slaughter scam victim. Zoe couldn't hold it, laughing. "Okay Serena, I'll handle it now, guarantee trending." Public opinion is a double-edged sword. Before, Gavin used it to ruin my reputation, now, I want him to taste disgrace. In less than half hour, trending exploded. Gavin pig slaughter, luxury substitute literature flip scene, Serena sober in world. In the video, Gavin choking Lydia's neck roaring, contrasted sharply with his affectionate look at engagement banquet. Netizens' comments were colorful. "Laugh dead, thought abusive deep love, turns out fraud scene? This guy's brain bubbly? Leaving real heiress, believing stall literature ghost story? Lydia is talent, scamming this, suggest book. Serena mighty. Such trash man should be thrown in bin. Goose stock directly hit limit down sealed. Board urgently convened dismissal meeting, Gavin kicked out. His luxury cars, villas all sealed by bank. Overnight, from clouds to mud. But I know, not enough. Gavin type, as long as breath, thinks comeback. I want to cut his retreat completely. Off work, I met Dylan in underground garage. He leaned on my car, fingertip holding cigarette, scarlet glow flickering in dim. Seems Miss Serena doesn't need my help, solved beautifully. He exhaled smoke ring, voice somewhat hoarse. I walked over, opened car door. Dylan waiting here specially, just to compliment me? Dylan stubbed cigarette, stepped closer. That strong oppression came again. I'm here to remind you, Gavin won't give up easily. He sought black market people. My action paused, turned to look at him. Black market? Dylan's eyes slightly cold, he wants to kidnap you, use you to threaten Shin investment. My heart startled, then sneered. Dog desperate jumps wall. So, Dylan opened car door, made please gesture, Miss Serena mind an extra bodyguard? I looked at him, street lamp yellow light on his profile, appearing extra three-dimensional. Dylan so free? Grand Fu Group president, be my bodyguard? If for Serena, I'm very willing. His words carried ambiguous true-false hard to discern. I didn't refuse. After all, at this juncture, safety first. Moreover, delivered tool person, not use for nothing. Then trouble Dylan. I sat in car. Dylan hooked lip corner, went to driver's seat. Car drove out garage, merged into evening rush traffic. Where to? He asked. Auction house. I looked at receding neon outside window, eyes ice cold. Gavin auctioned his mother's last jewelry set. That's his last trump. I want to buy it. Then, smash it in his face. Auction house brightly lit, fragrances and shadows. Gavin sat in corner, wearing cap and mask, wrapped tightly. But I recognized him at glance. That stray dog aura, can't hide. He stared at stage item, a jadeite jewelry set. His mother's relic, now his only liquidatable asset. Starting bid 5 million. For current Gavin, life-saving money. Get it, pay part usury, temporarily linger. 5 million. Someone bid. Gavin relieved, eyes hinting hope. 6 million. 7 million. Price climbed, soon 10 million. Gavin gripped armrest tightly, obviously excited. At this moment, I raised paddle. 20 million. Whole venue uproar. All looked at me. Today I wore red dress, flame red lips, aura full. Gavin saw me, body stiffened, eyes instantly malicious. He didn't expect me. Even less this high bid. 20 million once. 20 million twice. Auctioneer raised hammer. Gavin suddenly stood, removed mask shouting, not selling. Not selling this. Auctioneer frowned, sir, auction started, can't withdraw. That's my thing. I decide sell or not. Gavin rushed to display, wanting to grab jewelry. Security rushed to stop him. Mr. Gavin, please calm. This jewelry mortgaged to auction by bank, you know ownership. Gavin stunned. He forgot, to fill gaps, signed mortgage long ago. Now, not even owner of jewelry. 20 million thrice. Sold. Hammer fell. Jadeite jewelry mine. Staff delivered box. I opened, picked up translucent green bracelet, shook under light. Really beautiful. Pity, tainted goo family's bad luck. Gavin pressed to ground by security, still struggling. Serena. That's my mom's relic. Give it back. Give back? I walked to him with bracelet, looking down. Gavin, when you trampled my dignity, thought of returning? When using my money to keep mistress, thought of returning? Gavin eyes red, how much you want? When I come back, double return. Come back? I laughed, like hearing huge joke. Why think I'll give you chance? I released hand. Smash. Priceless jadeite bracelet fell, shattered. Crisp sound echoed in quiet hall, like loud slap. Gavin dazed. Looking at fragments, like soul drawn out. That's my mom's only memento. Now gone. Expressionless, I stepped over fragments, heels grinding jade slag, emitting harsh friction. Just like what you did to me. Shattered, can't piece back. Surrounding people gasped. Too ruthless. 20 million, for sound. This is Miss Serena's boldness. Dylan behind me, lightly applauded. Wonderful. He leaned to ear, low, but smashing pity. Better give me, I'll grind to powder, feed Gavin? I rolled eyes, Dylan taste really heavy. Gavin limp on ground, muttering. Over, all over. Without this money, usurers come tonight. Waiting him, hell. I turned to leave, no more glance. For trash, extra look waste life. However, as I exited auction door, a van suddenly rushed over. Door slid, several big hands reached, yanked me in. "Serena!" Dylan's roar from behind. But I only felt dizziness, then ether-smelling handkerchief-covered mouth-nose. Before consciousness blurred, heard Lydia's venomous voice. "Bitch, go die." Waking, headache splitting. Found bound to broken chair, around abandoned warehouse, air moldy and rusty. Lydia sat on oil drum opposite, toying with fruit knife. Gavin squatted in corner, head in arms, seeming mentally collapsed. "Awake?" Lydia came over, patted my face with knife back. "Miss Serena, didn't expect you have this day?" I shook head, to clear. Though bound, not panicked. Because earring hid micro-locator. Habit from Reborn life, always leave backup. Dylan should be on way. Lydia, kidnapping heavy crime. I looked calmly, release me now, perhaps lenient treatment. Lenient? Lydia laughed twistedly like joke. "Serena, you ruined everything. Gavin bankrupt, I street rat. What lenient? Today, drag you to hell." She turned, kicked Gavin. "Useless. Still dazed? Come help." Gavin lifted head, eyes empty. "Lydia, let's stop, killing repays with life." "Stop? Now stop halfway out?" Lydia grabbed collar, viciously. "As long as Serena dies, shun chaos. Then take ransom, flee abroad, restart. Don't you love me? For me, anything willing, right?" Gavin looked at Lydia's manic look, flash of fear in eyes. He finally realized, once treasured first love, actually venomous snake. "I won't. I won't." Gavin shook head desperately, shrinking back. "Useless thing." Lydia slapped his face, then turned to me, raised knife. "Since he won't, I will." Knife tip flashed cold, straight to my chest. I deep breath, abruptly leaned back, chair and all fell, barely dodging. "Still dodge?" Lydia furious, pounced to stab again. Bang! Warehouse door kicked open. Huge sound shook dust down. Backlit, Dylan's figure like killing god descending. Behind, team armed black-clothed men, instantly controlled situation. Lydia's knife dropped, whole person limp. "No, impossible, how so fast?" Dylan strode over, kicked blocking drum, bent to cut ropes. "Okay?" His voice shook, usually indifferent, eyes now bloodshot. I rubbed wrists, shook head. "Fine, came just right." I stood, picked up fruit knife, walked step by step to Lydia. Lydia scared, retreated until back to wall, no retreat. "You, what do?" "Killing illegal." I smiled. "You know killing illegal?" I threw knife at her feet, clang crisp. "Rest assured, won't kill. Too lenient." I turned to corner Gavin. He curled, shivering. "Gavin, this the woman you chose. Wants your life, drag you as cushion." Gavin lifted head, looked Lydia, eyes full despair regret. "Serena. I wrong, really wrong." He crawled to hug leg, kicked away by Dylan. "Roll away." Dylan wiped shoe tip disgustedly. Sirens from far to near. I looked at this pair once made me wish death, now like mud on ground, heart's last obsession finally dissipated. "Gavin, Lydia. Prison days long, enjoy slowly. This my last gift to you." Gavin and Lydia taken away. Kidnap attempt, plus prior fraud economic crimes, enough for a lifetime sewing in prison. Police cars whizzed away. I stood at warehouse door, looking distant sunset, long breath. Ended. Previous life's nightmare, finally ended this dusk. Thinking what? Coat with body warmth draped on shoulders. Dylan beside, not disheveled from tension, instead more sharp handsome. Thinking if too merciful. I gathered coat, faint tobacco smell, inexplicably reassuring. Merciful? Dylan raised brow, sent to prison, ruin family business, this merciful? Compared to what they did, indeed merciful. If not killing illegal, I really want to end them myself. Dylan looked, eyes suddenly deep. Serena, actually no need so strong. As long as you speak, I can do anything. Even, be that executioner. My heart jumped. Turn to see, he serious. This capital prince, for me, willing dirty hands? Dylan, we not that close? I tried joke to dissolve heaviness. Dylan stepped forward, backed me to car door. Not close? He lowered head, nose almost touching. I already raged for beauty for you, how more close? Pledge body? His breath on my face, scalding. I subconsciously wanted back, but circled in arms. Serena, I fancy you. He blunt, caught off guard. From you slapping Gavin at banquet. I thought, this woman, really vigorous. Since no more men, how about, try raising wolf? I'm loyal, and only bite others, not master. My face hot. What this? Overbearing CEO alternative confession? Dylan, now only want make money. I pushed him, got in car. Then together. Dylan not annoyed, around front to driver. Shen and Fu allied, whole capital ours. Then, play how you want. Have to say, proposal tempting. Power alliance, indeed better than solo. Then see Dylan's performance. I buckled belt, lip curved arc. Car started, to Shin Tower. Passing center big screen, playing Goo bankruptcy liquidation news. Gavin escorted to police car flashed. His eyes empty, like soul drawn. And I, in Maybach passenger, heading to my business empire. This life, I won. And won beautifully. Goo family completely fell. Tree falls monkeys scatter, those once fond Goo, now stomp hardest. Gavin's dad anger attack heart, stroke paralyzed bed. Gavin's mom cry heaven earth, beg borrow everywhere, can't enter doors. This reality. When high, around all good people, fall bottom, see who human who ghost. I didn't exterminate, just acquired Goo bankrupt edge company, turned public toilet. Name Gavin public toilet. Free open, benefit citizens. Said opening day, queues endless, all want experience pissing on Gavin head. In office looking report, laughed stomach ache. Serena, this move too damaging. Zoe poured coffee, couldn't help smile. But really relieving. This called best use. I sipped coffee, Gavin before, oh no, before jail, didn't most like pretend? Now name on toilet, count as eternal fame. Then, front desk called. Serena, Gavin's mother causing scene in lobby, wants see you. Let her up. I put down cup. Time to end. Gavin's mom entered, almost didn't recognize. Once elegant arrogant grace madam, now grey hair, old clothes, like destitute market aunt. Seeing me, plop knelt. Serena all faults Gavin's. Beg you lift hand, spare our family. Gavin inside will be beaten dead. Can you withdraw? As long as withdraw, I make him cow horse for you. I cold-eyed her act. Previous life, driven out, I knelt beg her same. She said, jinx. Husband curse. Roll far. Even let dog bite me. Now, feng shui turns. Mrs. Grace, please get up. I offered a feigned hand to help her up, but didn't actually reach out. Gavin's public restroom business is doing quite well. You should feel gratified, after all, it's the Goo family's only remaining enterprise. Gavin's mom face stiffened, then cried harder. Serena, how become so ruthless? Before not like this. Before that Serena dead. I interrupted, eyes cold. Killed by your Goo family hands. Now before you, Shin Group Chairman, Serena. Want withdraw? Can. Gavin's mom eyes bright, really? As long as you reverse time, make son not humiliate at banquet, not use my money keep mistress, not attempt kidnap kill me. If you can, I'll withdraw. Gavin's mom slumped ground, face ashen. She knew, impossible. See guest out. I waved. Security in, racked Gavin's mom out. Her cries echoed corridor, shrill and ridiculous. I walked to floor window, overlooking city below. Once looked up goo family, now mere dust. This mastering fate feeling, really good. Phone vibrated. Dylan message. A photo. In photo, he at Gavin toilet door, scissor hand. Caption, Serena, come inspect, by way use toilet. Experience excellent. I couldn't hold, laughed. This childish ghost. But, quite cute. Evening free? He sent another. What? Celebrate Gavin toilet grand open, treat dinner. I thought, replied one word, sure. Dylan took me to private kitchen. Quiet environment, no outsiders. Serena, let's marry. Dishes just served, he dropped bomb. I just picked braised pork, hand shook, meat dropped table. Dylan, eat just eat, don't tell ghost stories. I glared, heartbroken at meat. I'm serious. Dylan put down chopsticks, eyes burning at me. Shenfu marriage, power union, isn't reasonable business logic? Moreover, he paused, lip bad smile, I think we match. Whether business, or, dealing people. Have to admit, he makes sense. Through this time together, found Dylan indeed good partner. Smart, ruthless, yet bottom line. Most important, he understands me. No need much say, he gets every look, every plan. This tacit, Gavin fool never understand. Marriage okay. I wiped mouth, resumed negotiate posture. But conditions. Say. First, prenup. Shin mine, fu yours, no covet money. No problem. Dylan agreed fast, anyway my money later yours. Second, no interfere private life. If no feelings someday, part amicably, no cry hang drama. This. Dylan touched chin, I'll try control not love too deep, avoid ugly cry later. Third, I looked eyes, I won't be real Serena, not someone's wife. Dylan smiled. Extended hand, gripped mine. Deal. Serena, you forever yourself. And I, just your skirt minister. That moment, heard own heartbeat. Perhaps, this adult love. No grand vows, only equal mutual achievement. No depend, we two trees side by side. Even big storm, resist together. Wedding set month later. Grand, solemn, city sensation. That day, I in white gown, arm Dylan's, walked long red carpet. Guests both sides applaud bless. No mockery, no disdain, only envy awe. I saw big screen rolling stock, new high. Also saw in Dylan's eyes reflected that confident, beautiful self. This Serena's life should be. Not that humble to dust for man pitiful worm. Exchanging rings, Dylan low, thank you, let me win Gavin. I smiled, slipped ring on his ring finger. No, you won yourself. And I, won the world. This life, not only revenged, but gained career and, love? Perhaps. Anyway days long, slowly walk see. As long as money in hand, people beside, even hell, walk out flowery path.